Close Call in a Southern Town by Micah Hemingway. The Middletown Cookbook Committee met every September on the second Tuesday following the start of Rockland's Elementary. Ladies in hats carrying shawls or parasols to shield their white skin from the sun stepped into the mayor's living room, as it was customary for the mayor's wife to host such events, and sat in neat little rows of wooden folding chairs. On this particular afternoon, Jessie May Whitaker, the principal's wife, and Sally Jo Hobson, co-owner of Incredible Eatables, and the previous year's cookbook editor were seated beside each other. "Lovely day today, though the sun's a bit hot," said Jessie May, tilting her white starched hat to a jauntier angle. Sally Jo agreed, and the two sat in companionable silence until the mayor's wife, Rosemary Baker, walked into the parlor, pushing her silver tray of cucumber sandwiches. "Now, what do you think of Rosemary's new look?" Sally Jo asked, leaning close to Jessie May so she wouldn't be overheard. "I believe she looks younger." Jessie May studied Rosemary for a moment, then remarked that she did indeed look younger than she had at the previous month's library potluck. "Maybe it's something she puts in them cucumber sandwiches." She continued, leaning over her own seat to observe Rosemary more closely. "What's in the cucumber sandwiches?" Bernadette Vett, called Sugar Bean by everyone since her 10th birthday, asked, her brows pulled together in a thin, penciled line. "Something's wrong with the sandwiches?" Allison Stowe asked from behind Sugar Bean's shoulder. At that very moment, Janice Fieldstone, the current chairwoman of the cookbook committee, walked to the front of the room and rang a small brass bell she pulled from her purse to call the meeting to order. The four women all leaned over in their seats, staring intently at the tray of sandwiches as Janice exulted over the new appetizer section, which promised to make this year's cookbook the finest in Middletown history. Edith Warley, the church organist, noticed the women staring at the sandwiches and tapped her neighbor, Sarah Mills, who in turn tapped the minister's wife, Samantha Lippett. "What are they looking at?" Samantha mouthed to Edith. "Something about the cucumber sandwiches?" Edith replied, looking puzzled. "Something's wrong with the cucumbers!" Rebecca Winter, who had been seated quietly beside Allison Lowe until that moment, exclaimed as she stood up, purse spilling out onto the floor. Three women in the back of the room gasped and covered their mouths with gloved hands. At the front of the room, Janice Fieldstone continued her presentation about the appetizer section. "I can't eat spoiled cucumbers," said a woman in a pink felt hat. "The cucumbers are rotten," remarked one in purple cotton. "I heard of a boy who died from a vegetable mold," Jenny Mayo, Rockland's Woods PTA leader, exclaimed. Her fingers played against her lips in horror. "The sandwiches are poisonous!" someone screamed from the back of the room. The women rose in a flutter of fallen purses and parasols and lunged like pigeons into the aisles between the folded chairs. "The mayor's wife is trying to kill us!" Abigail Martin yelled, pushing at Edith Wardley's back. "Get out of my way!" "The mayor's wife couldn't have known," said Jenny Mayo, who felt obligated to defend Rosemary, as it was she who had brought the poisonous mold to everyone's attention in the first place. "It was Mr. Deacon the grocer," said a stout woman in beige, open-toed heels. "He sold her the rotten cucumbers." "Look!" Sarah Mills screamed. The women froze, looking in the direction Sarah pointed, gasping in unison as they observed Rosemary bringing a sandwich to her lips. Rebecca Winter, by far the heaviest in the group, barreled through the woman and knocked Rosemary to the floor just before she took a bite. Whew. Later that evening, Edith Warley, put in charge of keeping the minutes of the meeting by Janice Fieldstone, chairwoman, entered the following: discussed new appetizer addition to the cookbook, moved the freezes beautifully section behind the desserts, voted unanimously to dismiss Rosemary Baker as the official hostess of the cookbook committee, as she quite nearly served us all poisonous cucumber sandwiches containing a poisonous mold. Although it is the consensus of the group that the grocer led Rosemary to believe the cucumbers was safe when they was purchased, hopefully this will teach her not to believe everything she hears. Thank you.